Thank you very much. Jonathan, Charlie just stated that he thinks that this case is collapsing of its own weight. This case is a disgrace to our country, to the state of New York. Never seen anything like it. Stephen Calabrese, it's an outrage that this attorney brought this case and that the judge did not declare it a mistrial. Very high respect for Stephen Calabrese, who says an outrage that the district attorney brought this case and the judge did not declare a mistrial. And everybody's saying it in one form or another. Andy McCarthy, what they have, this kind of a case, that federal prosecutors in my old office in Southern District of New York wouldn't take it in the first place. They would not take it. The Southern District turned down this case. And the case that Cy Vance looked at and wouldn't take it, and the case that Bragg himself looked at in 2022 and shut it down. And this is what we've been wasting all this time on. Alan Dershowitz, I've observed and participated in trials throughout the world. I have seen justice and injustice in China, Russia, Ukraine, England, France, Italy, Israel, as well as in nearly 40 or 50 states. But in my 60 years as a lawyer and law professor, I have never seen a spectacle such as the one I observed sitting in the front row of the courthouse. I've never seen anything like it. He's been a great lawyer, great legal scholar for years. He's never seen anything like it. It's all politics, said Leo Turrell. If anyone tells you otherwise, they're not a lawyer. Let me just tell you that the White House is the person, or the group, whatever. They're the one trying this case. You heard who was doing all the talking. Representative from the White House. Just recently. This is all about Biden can't campaign, so he's trying to injure his opponent. They're trying to hurt the opponent because they can't win it fair and square. It's lawfare. There are a lot of terms for it. It's a third world country way of campaigning. Such a disgrace. So sad to see what's happened to our country. Our country's going to hell under Biden. But look at the person. Why don't you look at the person that argued their case, almost the entire case? Look at the person. Where did he come from? Unbelievable. He came from Biden. And I don't know if it's Biden, because I don't think Biden has any idea what the hell's happening. But it's from the fascists that circle in the Oval Office. They circle the Resolute desk, the beautiful Resolute desk that's being stinked up. If I were in New York, campaign finance law is extraordinarily complicated. Back in 2013, in the Northern Ireland Supreme Court Justice Anthony Scalia said, this campaign and finance law is so intricate that I can't figure it out. And what he's referring to is the fact that we had a legal expert, the #1 expert on campaign finance law, who wasn't allowed to participate. He wasn't allowed to participate. They said he can't be a witness unless you want to just talk about what's the definition of the law. You couldn't talk to him about anything else. Greg Jarrett, this trial is now officially a sad and pathetic joke. It's a crime. Mershon and Bragg are the head clowns. It should be patently obvious to all that the leading Republican candidate for president is on trial, not for what he has done, but for who he is. Trump is a potential nemesis of the Democrats. By the way, I've just gotten out of court. I haven't even seen this until I'm reading it to you now for the first time. I haven't even looked it over. I'm just giving it to you because everybody says the same thing. Bragg loathes him. Oh, I'm so surprised. And so does Mershon. Loathes me. The judge hates Donald Trump. Just take a look. Take a look at him. Take a look at where he comes from. He can't stand Donald Trump. He's doing everything in his power. I understand that I don't even have any reliance on counsel. I can't rely on this guy with counsel. I don't have any reliance on counsel. I might be the only one ever that doesn't have reliance on counsel. We have so many bad decisions. This is everything we ask for. We get nothing. So he says, Biden despises Trump, Bragg loves him, and so does Lucia, but it's all the same thing. Who has taken it upon himself to serve up as the co-prosecutor in the case. This is from the great Greg Jarrett, very talented guy. It's a persecution, not a prosecution of any legitimacy. Bragg has abused his position of power and spent tens of millions of dollars of taxpayer dollars. Do you see how many people from his office all day, while people are being mugged and killed outside? Never saw anything like it in my life. Nobody has. Bragg has abused his position of power and spent tens of millions of dollars to denigrate an electoral enemy. I'm the enemy, but to denigrate an electoral enemy to benefit his opponent, President Joe Biden, commonly known as Crooked Joe. The DA falsely asserts that Trump unlawfully tried to influence the 2016 election, but it is Bragg who is guilty of interfering in the 2024 election. They're doing it in 2024 just like they did in 2020. Can you imagine, with all of the wrongdoing that we found and that you know existed, they're coming after me for election interference? That's the classic of all. That's the classic of all. Tom Fitton, the sham Democrat Party prosecution of Trump may be collapsing in New York, but the process is a punishment as Trump is held in political hostage for the weeks in this kangaroo court proceeding in the middle of a presidential election. The show trial has already compromised the election. They're already cheating on the election with this, and you don't know what's happening because the judge is so biased, so corrupt. He's so corrupt, and he's so conflicted that you never know how these things. I'd rather have honest judges. But the corrupt judge will far surpass a great case for us. When you have a corrupt judge, lots of bad things happen. Katie Cherowski, this is such an embarrassment of a showing of prosecution that I imagine the judge wouldn't grant the motion to dismiss the case. You can't imagine it. There has been no evidence. There's no evidence, and there's no crime. There's no crime. Everybody says there's no crime. Where's the crime? And these are all your top legal scholars. Doug Schoen and Carly Cooper are finding, and I don't even know what he's going to say, I'm reading it now for the first time, are finding that large pluralities or outright majorities of Americans perceive these indictments as politically motivated should be a warning sign to the Democrats. These are Democrats who wrote it, Doug Schoen. John Yoo, I'm not sure there isn't going to be backfire on prosecution having a judge who's so aggressively on their side. He is so aggressively on their side, but he has to be. He has to be. He has to report. He has to be. Joe Concha, good guy, starting to think this whole lawfare strategy wasn't a good strategy at all, and it's having the inverse effect Democrats had hoped for. So the Democrats thought they were going to take me out with the lawfare. And it's so bad that at least I have a voice where I can talk to you, the press. In many cases, the fake news, but even the fake news has to cover it. Bill O'Reilly, the state of New York, and the image of the state of New York is a place of freedom and fairness is in tatters. Mike Davis, this is obviously a political hit against Trump, as well as a blatant election interference, and is totally unconstitutional. The American people see this trial as a complete sham. Well, so far they have, because I'm leading Crooked Joe Biden by a lot. They thought they could take me out with this. And don't forget, I have like 8 of them going. This is one. I have others going too, and we're doing very well in them. So, and this goes on and on. There's not one person, legal scholar, that think this is of merit. Now, I haven't reviewed everything, but I can see none. The ones when you hear Mark Levin, likewise, a phenomenal statement. a sham, a disgrace to America. All great legal scholars, Andy McCarthy, many documents, many papers written by Andy McCarthy, somebody I respect. But he's tough and he's legit. And it's terrible what's going on. It's terrible what's happening to our country. Mark Thiessen wrote likewise. Terrible what's happening to our country. It's an embarrassment and it's so sad. And I appreciate your listening. But I just watched something go in there, and you have to look at the man that did all the talking. Who's representing? He wasn't in the DA's office. He wasn't in here. He came in for one reason. And where did he come from? He came from Washington, D.C., the White House and the DOJ. And he argued the case. That means it's Biden. That means it's election interference by Sleepy Joe, our dumb as a rock president, who's destroying our country with the borders and destroying our country with the worst economy, worst inflation, who allowed Russia to go in to attack Ukraine, who allowed Israel to be attacked, and now he's not even helping Israel. And Jewish people that go for Biden and the Democrats, they should have their head examined. Thank you very much.